Hi guys, how you all doing? It's Michael Ben Melech here, and
Nissim Black, how are you?
Nissim Black, everybody. And we just finished, actually right now, one of the most incredible Rosh Hashanahs that I've partaken in. I'm sure
It's a different world.
you can say
Every year it only gets better and better and better. It only gets better every year, Baruch Hashem.
And I just hanging out here with Nissim right now. We're talking about a lot of different things. We're talking about our experiences, what I went through, what he went through here, and throughout all this time here in Uman. And what I kind of I thought it'd be interesting since we're talking now. So let's go on Facebook Live. Let's talk a little bit.
Okay.
So people know a little bit. I'm curious. I think people. I got to know you very well. So for me, it's you're an amazing person. I don't want to
Thank you.
But you are really. It's so inspiring what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know you probably get asked this like a million times, and everybody always wants to know, but the main storyline of how you got into Judaism, and more specifically, how you actually got into Breslov.
Okay.
I want to know a little bit about
The truth is, we'll stick with the Breslov one because the Judaism one is it's lengthy. It's very lengthy.
Okay.
But as far as the Breslov, the Kitzur, I was going through the process, through the Gero process, and one of the things that happened with both Shuvas, and also happens with Gary and whatever, is that usually one person in the relationship is moving faster than the other person in the relationship.
Okay.
And I was the person moving too fast. Like I was going 100 miles per hour, and my wife was going about 33 miles per hour.
Okay.
And so as a clash, and on the journey, I met a rabbi, and when I met this rabbi, I kind of told him a little bit, and he handed me a book called The Garden of Peace by Rabbi Shalom Arush.
Love that book.
It's the best book in the world. If you're a wife who loves your husband, get them The Garden of Peace, okay? And if you're a wife who loves your husband, never read The Garden of Peace. Just let him read The Garden of Peace. So that book, it changed my life completely. It changed my marriage, and my wife and I, we begin to grow together. Had a glaring over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of light on it.
And so after I started reading the book, and I was doing every day how are people to do, and I was going out doing all the eights that was in the book. I was davening to Hashem every day on my marriage and all that. And all of a sudden, my wife was going like 200 miles per hour. You know what I'm saying? I was still going my 100. But
You're saying that once you started practicing everything that was in the Garden of Peace,
right.
she started taking it up a notch.
She started taking it up a major notch.
And is that supposedly something that's expected? Like whether, meaning if you're on, let's say hypothetically, let's just call it, you're following the rules, you're on good behavior.
Right.
Whatever that means.
No, it's more than that, because you can have the information. I've always said this. You can have the information, but if you don't have the tefillah to go with the information, like you can read a book and it's great, but to actually be able to change your nature and to do it, you need prayer, which can go deeper. So that was really big. And then after that, a friend, I told him about it, and he gave me the Garden of Amunah, and he gave me the Enforced Field. So now I'm loaded with Rabbi Arush here. But
have you met him at that time? Yes, I haven't met him yet.
No, what happened is shortly after I got the books, Laser Brody came to town. He came to Seattle. I was living in Seattle at the time, and we developed a good connection. And after Laser Brody and I developed a connection, I stayed in touch with him and whatever. Make a long story short, I ended up going to Eretz Israel. And on my way there, I wasn't even in Eretz Israel. It was in New York. I met Rabbi Arush and Laser Brody together, right? So this is like all happening to me. Then the next week, we all are in Eretz Israel. The next couple of weeks from that, we're in Eretz Israel. And before I leave, right, it's a whole different story. I don't want to tell you because this story is going to split into two. I'm only going to keep it on Breslov.
Okay.
So what happened was, before I left Eretz Israel, I got an email from the White House saying that we want you to come to the White House for Hanukkah, for the Obama administration, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So I had the invite from the White House, and I called the yeshiva before I left. I called a friend of mine, and he called Rabbi Arush and told him, listen, what should he do? Should he go? Should he not go? Because whatever, Obama's maybe not so friendly to everybody. Whatever.
I didn't know that. No, he's great. What are you talking about?
Right.
No politics on this channel, guys.
No, I'm not a politic guy. I don't know whatever. So I asked him, should I go, whatever? And he said, not only should you go, but you got to do hafatzah. You have to give Barack Obama the Garden of Emunah.
Very nice.
So whatever. I went on.
So
this
he
mission.
actually has a copy of the Garden of Emunah.
He has a copy of the Garden of Emunah. I had proof. I got the email from the secretary, whatever. So anyway, after this whole trip, so I ended up going there, and I was in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I had to stop off in LA before I got there. So I stopped off in LA and then I flew whatever to Maryland. And I went to go daven on a Friday night, and I was in this shul, and I'm davening, and I look back on the shelf, and I see before I started davening, I grabbed a book off the shelf, Seventh Heaven, Rob Kramer, classics. And so I started reading through this book or whatever, and these beautiful things. And before I left Israel, a friend of mine translated the Hit Kashrut prayer, and I never said it because whatever, I feel very weird saying something like that, but I had it with me. I just never said it. So I ended up davening there at that shul, and all of a sudden I hear psst, psst, and it's quiet. It's like a shtibel in somebody's basement. And this guy goes, "Is that your book?" I go, "No, it's not my book. It's whatever, I got it from them." And then we start talking, psst. And I'm like, and he goes, "Are you Nissim?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he waits for a little bit. He goes, "Psst. I'm Laser Brody's brother." And I look at him, Zev Zolman. And so he tells me after we're done davening, he says, every day after davening, I learn Lekotei Moharan. So we sat down and
What year is this, by the way?
This is 2013.
Okay.
So we sit down to learn Lekotei Moharan, and he had just got up to Torah Gimel, which talked about music, the kosher music. I was hooked after that. We went through that Torah.
And by the way, what amazing how Hashem is.
Amazing.
It had to be on chapter 3.
It had to be on chapter 3.
About songs and the cantor and all that.
Right. It's amazing.
So cool.
So I hear this and it's resonating with me. After that, after Shabbos, I went out to the forest to go to people to do.
Yo, bro! That was crazy, bro.
Thank you. Just one second.
Just hug him.
This is what happens all day long with Nissim Black.
Why are you live, man?
Probably annoying. He gets hugged. You don't understand. This guy is walking around everywhere. Everyone is just loving this guy. Look at this.
I love everyone, so.
Baruch Hashem.
The best is when Rav Arush asks you to come and sing for everybody.
But the truth is, and he doesn't, he's very, very humble about it as well. He's dealing with the people. I walked around with him throughout all of Uman, and I'm not joking, every other second he's being hugged, kissed, handshakes. I mean, he's even cutting little kids' hairs for their upsharing as he's walking through the streets of Uman. I mean, it's an incredible thing to watch, and he's look at this, he's a friendly, pure humility. It's amazing, unbelievable thing to watch, and it's such a hizuk to all of us in Am Yisrael, someone who's, sorry, we're getting back to you. Sorry, he has to take another picture.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So we were saying so you started learning chapter 3 of
I learned chapter 3 of Lekotei Moharan. And after that, on Sunday, whenever I went out to the forest and Silver Springs, beautiful place. There were deers running around or whatever. I was freezing, and I took out the paper I had that had It Kashrut. Shooting at us. Let's see. I took out the Lekotei Moharan. They had the Hit Kashrut. I mean, the paper had the Hit Kashrut on it. The prayer that you say, you bind yourself to the tzaddik, so that the prayers could be elevated. After I said it, there's such a feeling that came over my body, like I was flying, and I stayed in the snow, in the cold, man. You see, for 2.5 hours, talking that shit. Yeah, we should go down this way.
Come. Okay, we're gonna keep on talking. Oh, you gotta love Uman.
Gotta love him.
Here, sit down right here for a second. Come.
So, Mamash, it was an experience. So after that year, Zev Zolman, which is Laser Brody's Uncle Zizi, I call him, he made sure to stay in touch with me also. And he's like, you gotta come to Uman for Rosh Hashana. You've got to come and blah, blah, blah. And he showed me, the guy had about 3 hours worth of footage of him just walking around there in Uman from, several years. And watch all of his footage of Uman. So, of course, I had a big yearning, but I also have a wife. And, yeah. So
So wait, hold on. Are you telling me that you're? It's a very common thing. Let's be real here. I'm in Uman right now as well, and one of the biggest obstacles, of course, in general, is leaving your family Rosh Hashana to go to Uman.
Right.
So I feel you, and I'm actually glad that you're actually sharing that, because you would think that you're obviously very involved in Breslev, and most people are like, yeah, see your wife, I'm out, peace.
Right. No, that's not the way to do it. And the truth is that you can't read the Garden of Peace and then also think like that's what Hashem wants you to do. Rabbi Nachman doesn't want you to do that neither. So the main thing is to make sure that your wife. So how do you get a good response from your wife? First, there's two things. One thing, your intentions need to be good. If you're coming to, I heard this one time also to relate to Brody. If you're coming to Uman to party, your wife feels it. For sure. She almost feels it. For sure. That's something that doesn't feel right to her about it. That's one thing. Number two, the second thing is that, which is even more important, that a person has to pray to Hashem to be able to do it. That's the main thing. If you dive into Hashem to be able to do this, and that your wife should have everything she needs, make sure that, as much as you possibly can, And then, even if it's hard for her the first time, after that, my wife every year, 7-8 months earlier, is this, you get your ticket yet? You get your ticket yet? You bring back such light, such awe, something, what happens here, we don't understand what happens here in Uman or Rosh Hashana. We don't even understand, we just can feel it, the achdus, the love, you know what I'm saying, and what comes out, it's an awe, it's a light. So, anyway, I finally got the reshut for my wife, I ended up going. And it was such a powerful experience for us. Such a powerful experience for us as a family. My wife seen what happened when I got back. That we were sitting talking one day, and she said, "Okay, does this mean that we're Breslev?" And I said, "Yeah." We're Breslev. Right. And so Baruch Hashem, that was 4 Rosh Hashanas ago. Baruch Hashem. So, I've been here every year. So that's how I got to Rabbeinu.
Here's a quick question on that. Now that we're actually talking about Uman and Rosh Hashanah.
Right.
Do you feel, okay, so now it's your 4th year going to Uman Rosh Hashanah. Right? Mm-hmm. And putting the stigma away that, you're coming to go because you want to hang out in the tzion of Rabbi Nachman. Right? That's the general conception of what everybody says. That's what Rosh Hashana is. Right. Which is not even all the story. No. That's something that I found out when I was here, that this place not only is a magical, it's a magical place.
Right.
It's crazy that people don't know that. Right. But do you feel like after you went there for Rosh Hashana, did your life change? Did it really make any difference in your life?
Made major differences in my life, major changes, and I was able to see all of the bracha that happened in my life, even afterwards. Like I say, it could be just a result of it being Rosh Hashanah. Hashem decides everything in Rosh Hashanah anyway. Right. But the emes is, though, you cannot explain to a person who's not been to Uman. You haven't been to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, you can't really explain what it
bring
is.
More people. It's already packed to capacity. Don't just bring more people, please.
Huh? I'm saying, but you can't really explain it. You can say all that you want, but until you get here, you don't really understand.
Right.
You'll never really understand what people are talking about. The achdus, the love, the friendship. It's like the fact I was sitting davening the other day. This is Friday night Kabbalah Shabbos, and I usually daven with my head down, whatever, so I can stay focused. Because Hashem's a lot of people, and like you said, I get stopped a lot. So even during davening, if I put my head up, I feel obligated to wave at every person that waves at me. So I try to keep my head down. And while I'm down, I put my head just a little bit to look, and there's bleachers in front of me. I just looked at the knees. One guy has on black khakis, one guy has on gray jeans, one guy, his knees are cut out in his jeans, and the other guy, half of his knees are cut out in the jeans. And I'm looking at all these, and it's just telling a story of being here by Tzaddik. Nobody cares how you dress. Nobody cares about whether you daven at this shul or you're over here. You're there. The electricity of Achdus and being together and unified for a common purpose, the daven Rosh Hashana and the be by Tzaddik, is unheard of. It's like you can't explain it. A person has to be here to feel what happens,
And I would say, again, you just hit everything on the money. I felt the unity here is out of control.
Right.
I've never experienced anything to that level, and I feel like people they just don't know this.
Right. They just don't know.
And a lot of people think that this is just a Breslov thing,
Right.
and in reality, this is like
Most of the people here are not Breslov.
are not Breslov.
Most of them
They're
here.
not.
And the Sephardim have the Ashkenazim outnumbered probably by triple the Sephardim here.
So this is Sephardic City for everybody who wants to really. If you're Sephardic and you want to go to a cool place for Rosh Hashanah, Uman Rosh Hashanah. I mean, to the extent where you're walking down a building and got a massive billboard of the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
You're right. Even though
They have a huge Chabad presence in
huge
Uman.
Chabad presence, and everybody's davening together.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing. Satmar Chassidim is a Shlomo Feder. I have to give him. He does every year. He's a Satmar Chassid. He makes so much. He brings a beautiful crowd, and he makes singers for the Yom Tov.
Right.
That place is rocking. The place is rocking. There's amazing guys. Everybody's contributing to this. And the whole thing is like this. And Rabbi said it the best. Rabbi Nachman said it the best. Each one has his inyan. His inyan is Rosh Hashanah. He said Hashem gave me Rosh Hashanah as a gift. And a person can say, oh yeah, what that's some chutzpah. Come to Uman on Rosh Hashanah, and you'll see exactly what the tzaddik's talking about. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. It's alive.
And I want to say, I'm not here. My wife would tell me, "Don't do this." I'm not here to preach what Nissim's. Nissim is making not only a valid point, but from my perspective, it's like I'm not telling you need to leave to go to Uman Rosh Hashanah, but I'm telling you that if a person is not spiritually charged,
Right.
and they need really to actually get some sort of life in their body.
Right.
This city, Rabbi Nachman, his presence, the energy in the city is incredible. And not just that, but from a perspective of beauty.
Right.
There's places that
This place is gorgeous. Very, very
Eat the dude, which is very Breslover thing to do, but really, if you can go back in time and talk about this,
It's a
everybody's
thing to do. It's a Jewish thing to do.
It's a Jewish thing to do.
Right.
The places here are, what do you mean?
It's amazing. Gorgeous places. Waters, the grass, the sea. Hashem, I don't know. Some of the people here you want to stay away from. They come with the city, but Baruch Hashem. Other than that, stay away from the big Russian security guards. But Baruch Hashem. Other than that, it's an amazing place. Amazing place.
So, looking back again, just to finalize anything regarding Uman, anything that you can take away in general from this year and compared to other years that you feel that worth sharing?
I think that I was thinking about this, and we talk about this all the time. That Rabbi Nachman talks about this. Tzaddikim have the aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu, and it's talked about on Moshe Rabbeinu that he had a neshama that had all. And Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama was all the neshamas of all of Klal Yisrael. All of those are rooted into the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? And one thing that I've seen is I'm trying to figure out which place on planet Earth can have such octaves. And like I said, we'll keep bringing it up because it's so amazing. But I think it's because of Nachman, when he said about himself that he has that aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu, that you see that so many different type of people are able to come here. Why? Because he has that bechina, he has that aspect to be able to unify Klal Yisrael. And each one of us, and me, and the other guy who had the ripped jeans, and there was another boy who was like, I'm done with Yiddishkeit. You know how many guys came here and they were the last leg of done Yiddishkeit? They said, I never experienced anything like this before. Hashem loves me. You understand what I'm saying? Those type, to hear those words over and over again. Each one of us represent the rest of Klal Yisrael. There's a guy like you. There's a guy like me. I'm saying we're all unique in our own right, but we're saying that we all represent something, and for all of it. And it's like everybody's here. It almost feels like everybody's here to be and shine a stint or in the clothes on a Friday night in the Sira. You mamish feel like the Gula has come. You never, the electricity, the fire that shoots in your body. This is the place. So for me, is seeing that this means that when you buy true tzaddikim and great tzaddikim, that what's one of the litmus tests is that all of Klal Yisrael has a place. If all of Klal Yisrael doesn't have a place, I can't say that that's a tzaddik for me.
Right.
If everybody doesn't feel comfortable there, it's not a place.
And you just said about, you hit it on.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted just to say something you mentioned about a place called the Kloitz.
The place, yeah.
Kloitz, just to let everybody know, what he's talking about is the place where Rabbi Nachman, after Rabbi Nachman passed away, Rabbi Nachman made a huge, massive push to continue the Hasidim to come back for Rosh Hashana to go to the gravesite of Rabbi Nachman, eventually to build a shul there in the area. Now the Kloitz eventually moved to locations, and now they have the Kloitz, quote unquote, as this massive building that can house about 5,000 people inside. The Ashkenazic minyan is about somewhere, I think it was about 3,500 people can fit inside. And at the bottom is the Sephardic, which is the basement. You have another 1,500 people. I happened to experience Friday night, and I can honestly say not only was it the most magical Friday night services that I've ever been a part of, but it's not even eerie is the right word. It is out of this. You're not in this world.
Not in this world. It's a different place.
It's so
Completely.
I mean, you have to think about it. If you're in an arena, imagine you're in an arena and the whole arena is screaming out, Shema Yisrael from the top of their lungs.
Right.
It's in the acoustics are
Right. That was
phenomenal.
amazing. It was amazing, for sure. So we all zocher to be able to feel this, all of us together. I'm saying, not just here at Uman Rosh Hashana, but B'ezrat Hashem with the Mashiach. We can only imagine what actual goal is going to feel like, We're all together. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you
Like
so
I
much.
said, he gets approached non-stop.
Look at you.
He is.
Thank you.
He is.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to finalize. I have two very important announcements to make with Nissim Black. That is just that are very, very exciting. If you are watching here from friends from the Lighthouse back in Miami, right now actually it's still Shabbos in Miami right now, and obviously all throughout the East Coast and West Coast. So you guys will be watching this later.
We want to come to Miami to make a big concert, B'ezrat Hashem. Michael's setting it up, so if you have any questions, ask Michael. But we want to make it happen. We want to make it happen.
So thank God. Baruch Hashem. Excuse me, so sorry. Baruch Hashem. We're talking about bringing finally Nissim, South Florida, first visit, right?
First visit to Florida. I've never been to Florida in my life. I've been all over the world. I haven't been to Florida, so B'ezrat Hashem.
It's very, very exciting. So we're finalizing. It's going to be either November 5th or the 11th. Nissim in person. I can say I finally just saw him perform here in Uman. Incredible. His energy is amazing, and obviously the music itself is self-explanatory. It's amazing to listen to. I know we're going to make sure, repeat, this concert will be open to the whole South Florida community. We're going to make it free. We're going to have no excuses. We're going to pack this house. It's going to be amazing. And one more thing that I think people don't know, and this to me was also something very exciting. What people don't know also about Nissim, besides being a super talented musical artist, is that he's also a very big chacham, and a person who actually, he's like, no, don't say that. He teaches. I'm sure right now if you went on YouTube, you can go check out some of his classes and materials. I know he's done a couple of things under Breslov of Israel. And I was telling Nissim how cool would it be if we can try to get Nissim to actually teach weekly through the Lighthouse Project social media classes, and he has reluctantly agreed. And God willing,
Coming soon.
Nissim Black weekly Torah classes through the Lighthouse Project. Without Hashem, with Hashem's help, we'll make it happen. So, that being said,
B'ezrat Hashem should be a full year of not only brachas and shefa and the gashmis, really, and the ruchnis. Everybody should have a mona shlema and have the faith in Hashem that they want. They should have the fire inside of their body to serve Hashem, to come closer to Hashem. And when we come closer to Hashem, that fire that we feel inside, it starts to burn away all the safek, all the worries, all the doubts, all the ta'avot, ra'ot, all of the things that keep us away from coming close to Hashem. So Bezat Hashem, this year, every person that wants to chase lumdus, he should be a Talmid Chacham. And the next person who wants to be who needs children. You need children? Bezat Hashem should bless you with many children. Bezat Hashem. Need a zivug? Bezat Hashem should give you a zivug.
Amen.
Bezat Hashem. So it should be a good year. Shana Tova, Tukah, to everybody, whether you're in Florida, Jerusalem, wherever you are. Bezat Hashem, you should have fun. Yeah, Florida and Jerusalem, same thing. Oto Tova, no?
Florida and Jerusalem?
Maybe not.
Uman and Jerusalem are pretty similar for Rosh Hashana.
At least on Rosh Hashana. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Nissim. Thank you, guys. Shana Tova here from Uman, Ukraine, home of the gravesite of Rabbi Nachman. And I hope all you guys had a wonderful Hag and a lovely Shabbat. And we'll see you back on the flip side in South Florida and back with classes and all that good stuff coming back on the 18th of October. So with that being said, Shana Tov everybody, and we are out from Uman, Ukraine.